G-Star Productions Creative Lab, the home of True Meditation of the Heart, one of our divisions under G-Star Productions. I am ReGina Crawford, the president and CEO of G-Star Productions, as well as the resident author of True Meditation of the Heart. Today we're going to do some live readings from a couple of my novels. We'll begin with my fourth offering, which is called Snake Chaser. It came out about 6 years ago, and it's a story about a female Marine who goes through a lot of tragedies in life and still tries to maintain her sanity. We'll begin with the chapter titled Reunion Part 1. Upon his arrival in D.C., Quason stores his gear in the room he's been assigned at the bachelor's housing bunker before heading over to his parents' home for a visit with them and his sister. His twin sister Quintana, that he affectionately calls Anna, is the only one at home. When he walks in the door, she runs to him and jumps into his arms. He hugs her tightly, and when he feels wetness on her cheek as their faces come in contact, he pulls back to look at her. Seeing that she's been crying, he asks, "What's wrong?" all the while praying that it has nothing to do with their parents. "Sylvia was hurt on her last mission," she replies. "She should be at the medical center in a couple of days." "Damn," Quason whispers fiercely. "I'd wondered if she'd gotten hit." Quintana pushes out of his arms and glares at him while asking in a near yell, "You were there? You didn't protect her? Why didn't you stay with her?" "Calm down, Anna. I was there. However, I didn't know she was there until just before the gunfight broke out. I wasn't close enough to her to protect her, but I doubt she would have wanted me to. And I'm not with her because her people whisked her away, and then she is a master at hiding. I've been trying to find out about her for the past few days, and no one would tell me anything." After answering all of his sister's questions, he thinks back upon something that Sylvia had told him in her underground bunker and states, "I didn't know that you two kept in touch with each other." Anna drops her eyes as she quietly states, "She doesn't keep in touch with me. However, Chance does." A Quason's cocked eyebrow, she continues, "Even though he's not in direct contact with her, he has been monitoring her career as a Marine and has actually been responsible for most of the training that she has received." She pauses before adding, "He's the reason you are here for the training you're about to receive." "What?" Quason yells. "Calm down," states Anna. "He's been tracking some master criminals all over the world who have their hands in quite a few pots of illegal activity, and he's putting together a specialized team to track them down and put a stop to them. He's handpicked the people to be on the team, and you and Sylvia are two of the people he's picked." "What?" yells Quason once again. Confused by his reaction, Anna asks, "What?" Quason runs a hand down his face as he paces and thinks over what his sister has just told him. After letting him pace for a few minutes, Anna steps directly in his path, knowing she wants to know why he's so upset. He stops his pacing and says, "I don't think Sylvia is going to be too happy about seeing me or Chance." "Of course she will," states Anna. However, the look on Quason's face gives her pause, and she asks, "Why wouldn't she be happy to see the two of you?" She and Chance have not been in direct contact with each other since their parents' death, and she feels like he has abandoned her, so I'm not sure she'll be happy to see him, is Quason's response, hoping she will overlook the fact that he has made no reference to himself. No such luck at the next words out of Anna's mouth. "And the reason she wouldn't want to see you?" Deciding that telling her part of the truth was the best way to get her to back off, he replies, "We were recently on a mission together, and although we got along okay, I don't think she planned on seeing me again after the mission was over." Anna squints her eyes at him, not sure if he is telling her everything, and so he adds, "We had no idea that the other one was on the mission, so we were both surprised to see each other. We completed our mission and went our separate ways on amicable terms." "Okay," states Anna, but the look on her face is that she's not entirely sure that she has gotten the whole story. Wanting to distract her from asking any more questions, he asks, "Where are the folks?" "They should be back any second now. They ran to the store." "How did Anna know that I had been injured?" "Chance." His one-word answer causes that flash of pain to settle in her face, and she turns her head away from him. He doesn't say another word. He just simply waits for her to turn his way again. Even though she knows he's waiting on her response to that bit of news, she keeps her face turned from his as silent tears course down her face. He continues to wait. However, before she has gotten herself together enough to look in his direction, the person in question walks into the room. Quaison stands at attention at the entrance of a superior officer. Reunion Part 2. At ease, soldier, states Chance. Upon hearing her brother's voice, Sylvia snaps her head back around. However, before she can utter a word, Chance says, "Hey sis, how are you feeling?" Still shocked by his presence in her room, Sylvia is unable to answer the question, and her surprise is evident on her face. "Do I have to pull rank in order to get an answer out of you?" he asks around a smile. Not at all in a jovial mood, Sylvia responds, "Since when have you ever given a damn about how I feel?" She then turns her head from him. Sensing that they need time alone, Quaison heads for the door, figuring he and Sylvia could finish their conversation at a later time. "No need to leave, Quaison," states Chance. "I get the feeling she would rather have you here than me." He pauses as he runs a hand down his face. "Look, Sai," he begins. However, before he continues, she snaps her head back in his direction with an evil glare on her face. Not at all afraid of his little sister, Chance continues. "Even though I haven't always shown it, I have always cared. I have followed your whole career and have been instrumental in some of the assignments you have been given." She's still glaring at him, so he figures he might as well give her what he believes she would consider bad news. "Which is why I'm here now. You and Quaison have been assigned to a special forces team that I am putting together, and I wanted you to know before you showed up and was surprised to find me as your mission leader." True to form, Sylvia just maintains the glare on her face until Chance leaves the room. Once the door closes behind Chance, Sylvia looks at Quaison. "Did you know about this?" "Yes. I found out after I returned stateside, and before you even think to ask why I didn't tell you, you know that I couldn't." Knowing that he is right, she lets go of some of her anger. "I know you couldn't. It was just such a shock to see him after all these years, and to know that I will be under his command." She stays before her voice trails off and a fresh wave of tears glisten in her eyes. Unaccustomed to a woman's tears, especially this woman, Quaison mutters, "Oh, hell," before walking over to the bed and taking her in his arms and letting her cry it all out of her system. Sure enough, another group of men arrive on a caravan of elephants and inspect the women standing in the center of the encampment. It appears as though their arms dealer is selling women as well as guns and ammo. When the caravan of elephant leaves the encampment, Sylvia and Garth head back to their hideout to gather their gear so that they can break camp in the morning and head back to the command center to brief Chance on their findings. When they arrive back at the command center, Sylvia and Garth turn over the reports and cameras so that the pictures can be retrieved. What Sylvia isn't aware of is that Quaison is watching her intently and that he notices how agitated she is, but he knows that he will have to wait to ask her about it. He hopes that Garth isn't the source of her agitation, for he would hate to have to take a fellow team member to task over his woman. What Quaison isn't aware of is how intently Chance is watching him, and Chance is definitely developing a strong curiosity about the relationship between his sister and Quaison. Knowing that he can't explore his curiosity at this time, Chance leaves the briefing room to process the pictures from the cameras that Sylvia and Garth turned in. Quaison eventually makes his way over to Sylvia and asks her what she's so wrought up about. "He is selling the women that he used to transport his guns and ammo," she begins. "That's why he's able to be so elusive. He's not using the same women over and over again, and the women he is using end up sold off to men who keep them hidden so that no one is the wiser about what is taking place. And the men he is selling the women to are different than the men he is selling the arms to, so the two groups aren't able to connect the dots together, so they won't be any help in bringing him down." She pauses to take a breath. "I have to give him credit. He is very clever, and that is the reason he has been so successful in his dealings. But I want to bring this bastard down." Welcome to G-Star Productions Creative Lab, home of True Meditation of the Heart. I am ReGina Crawford, the resident author for True Meditation of the Heart, and we are going to do a reading from my third offering called Heart, Body, and Soul. This story is about Zamora and the challenges that she goes through with being an FBI agent. Let's see where we should begin. Let's start in the middle. New developments. As soon as they are securely within the confines of the limo, Zamora studies Eric and Marquise to see if they develop the same uneasy feeling that she did while in the curator's office. After only a few minutes, she assesses that they did indeed get the same feeling she got. "So what are we going to do about it?" she asked, fully expecting them to understand what she was asking. "Who are the Richardsons to you?" Zamora remains quiet for some time before responding in a faraway voice. My parents. When she says no more, Eric jumps in. Your parents? She looks at him, but says no more. That's all you're going to say? She still remains quiet. Isn't this case a little too personal for you to be working? This case is quite personal, she all but growls at him. But there wouldn't be a case if it wasn't for me, so there's no way that I am not seeing it through to the end. She remains quiet for just a few seconds before muttering somewhat under her breath. Damn youngin' wants to tell me, of all people, that the case is too personal for me to be working. Then she turns and glares at him until he puts his shades on his face and turns toward the window to observe the scenery as they drive back to the hotel. Czar, was that necessary? Asked Marquise, his voice barely above a whisper. When she turns her glare his way, he simply grins at her with that sexy as hell grin of his. She finally gives up on the glare and smiles back at him. That's my girl, are his answering words. Zamora tries to ignore the warm sensation that spreads through her at his words. However, both Marquise and Eric notice how her whole demeanor softened at his words. Eric wonders what is going on between his two fellow agents. He didn't think any of them had worked together before, but there is something tangible between these two. He decides he will just keep his eyes and ears open where they are concerned. Marquise finds that he must fight to maintain his control and not move over to her and kiss her for all he's worth. But she can't help but smile to herself as she remembers the look he gave her in the limo. After 15 minutes of the cascading water, she gets out and walks into her room without benefit of a towel. My, draws Marquise as his eyes roam over her body from head to toe. Zamora nearly jumps out of her skin and gives a yelp of surprise. You scared the shit out of me, she nearly yells at him. What are you doing in here? I came in here to talk to you about our visit at the museum. I just never suspected that you would come out of the bathroom as naked as the day you were born, he states in a somewhat teasing manner. However, I would like to know how long you plan on torturing me for scaring you. Oh, I haven't begun to torture you, but the thought has crossed my mind. Sweetheart, you'll torture me just by standing there like that. Huh? Says Zamora before getting a full glance at herself in the mirror attached to the dresser. As a result of her scare, she forgot that she was completely naked. Shit, she growls as she makes her way back into the bathroom to retrieve her robe. She hears his laughter. She puts her arms through the sleeves. This is not funny, she states as she walks back into the room. Yes, it is, but seriously, I think we need to talk about these artifacts and how they came to be in your parents' possession. To be honest, I have no idea, she responds. Art doesn't know that I overheard the greeter from the museum talking to another woman in the marketplace, and they seem to be affiliated with, or at least know, the people that killed her parents. The woman from the museum is convinced that her parents were the king and queen, and that she is the princess. I believe that her life is in real danger, and we need a new plan to keep her alive, one that she doesn't know about. I totally agree, adds Marquise. I'm thinking that this is going to get a lot more complicated than we originally anticipated. In the meantime, let's take a look at the U.S. papers authenticating the artifacts, states Rock.
You know, we offer healing here. Whatever you need to release to heal, you can do that here. So, you come back as often as you like, okay? And you may hear a word or two. That'll start that healing process within you, alright?
Thanks. Well, thanks so much, Charm. You've helped more than you know.
You're quite welcome. And that's my purpose for being here.
And I'm glad about that. You have a good night, Charm.
You too. And by the way, my name is Megan.
Megan. I like that. Good night, Megan.
Good night.
Can't save them all.
No. But if I could just save one, I'm cool with that.
You gonna stay in the car all night? Or you gonna come in the house?
Wow. This is really feeling like a case of deja vu.
I know. But I already need to talk to you about something.
What is it, Jason? What do you need me to understand?
That you have someone to hug. I wanted to braid a fence from the snipers and the dogs so that you don't have to feel alone. I want to help you. I never knew it was that serious for you, and I'm sorry.
I wish it were easy for me to say, okay, but it's not.
I understand. And I'm willing to wait. Just don't keep shutting me out.
I will try.
That's all that I can add.
Who will stand by my side through the laughter and tears, through the triumphs and tribulations, that will hold my hand and pick me up when I stumble. I wish I could rid myself of this concrete shed, my hard girl exterior, bask in the gentleness inside me. Yet I'm afraid without the hard shell, the softness inside will melt away like cotton candy exposed to the rain, as my gentleness would be exposed to the tears that stream from my eyes, as I will no longer be protected from outside forces intent on destroying me.